Hey folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports. It has been over a decade since Yamaha redesigned its Waverunner engine, but for 2024, that has finally happened. The old 1.8 liter has been replaced by a brand new 1.9 liter, and I want to talk about it. So in this video, we're going to do a deep dive with a Yamaha engineer, go over all the changes, everything that's new, and then maybe most importantly talk about how much quieter the engine is and how much more efficient it is, and we're actually going to go into some numbers on that. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you stay tuned. The spark for this video was my recent ride review of the 2024 Yamaha BX Cruiser HO. Hopefully you saw that here on the channel. If you didn't, go watch it now. In that video, I talk about the features on the Waverunner and I talk about the new power plant and how it feels on the water. But after that day of riding, I was left with questions. I want to better understand how Yamaha achieved what they did with the new engine. So right now, let's bring in Dave Ingram, Yamaha Technical Specialist for Marine Engines at Yamaha Canada, and we can go over all of these changes.
Well, yeah, again, thanks for joining me today, Dave. I appreciate it. It's a big deal that there's a brand new engine in the Yamaha Waverunner. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's been 15 years since you've had a brand new engine.
Yeah.
So I want to dive into this thing. I really want to understand, where Yamaha was coming from when they went to redesign it, and then sort of what the outcome is. So the first question I have is kind of a big question. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it. So besides the displacement, which went from 1.8 liters to 1.9 roughly, what else is different with the new engine? What else has changed for the new generation?
Well, it's starting from the outside in. You can just see by looking at the motor. It is a new design. It is a new look. Even something as simple as the new engine cover. It's the first one that Yamaha has manufactured to include a pant-derived cellulose nanofiber. So it's reinforced resin. So it's 25% lighter than current resin materials, and it also has excellent material recyclability. So they're taking a bit of an environmental approach to it.
So that brace on top, not only does it look cool, but it's functional as well then.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And it is a good looking aesthetic feature. It really sort of draws your eye to the motor. As you said, we've gone from 1.8 liters up to 1.9. So we've gone from 180 horsepower up to 200. It is a naturally aspirated motor. And there are new components that go along with that. We have a new exhaust manifold, new intake setup, a bit bigger throttle body on it, a bigger fuel pump. We have increased the diameter. So instead of 86 millimeters, the piston diameter is now 88. And like I said, we're now running 200 horsepower as opposed to 180. And it's just a matter also of looking at the serviceability. So easier to maintain, easier to work on when you're looking at it. We have put it into 5 Waverunner models and 17 different sport boats. Cool. So it is taking over the 1.8 liter naturally aspirated slot in our lineup. So, it's a bit bigger, runs a bit better. It is a fantastic package that the engineers have put together for this.
Cool. Did anything change with the jet, with the impeller, anything to do with that stuff? Did that stuff get updated as well along with the power plant?
Yes, for some of our GP models, let me just check my notes here because it's
there's a lot. I'm sure there's
yes. A lot. So for the FXHO and the VXHO models, so the ones that are used in the 1.9 liter, we have changed the intake grate. So there's now an added scoop on the intake grate. So we're creating a bit more efficiency and better hookup and stability on the unit. You're going to find that when you squeeze the throttle with the 1.9, the lag is gone. It just gets up and it's out of the water. Like you had a chance to operate one, so you can really sort of feel the power hooking up.
Oh,
Better for it. We have changed out the impeller, so we've created an impeller now where we've combined the design for the FX and GP, two separate models that used to have their own individual impellers. They now share an impeller.
okay.
And what they found in testing is there is less vibration, there's less noise, so you're getting a quieter, smoother ride, which of course for the consumer is better for them because you're not feeling your poor teeth kind of rattle out in some cases.
Sure.
So it's really sort of put a lot of effort into looking at that. What they've done along the lines of reducing noise and vibration is they've redesigned the intake manifold.
Okay.
So they've changed the pipe length and the surge tank, and has been optimized for better noise reduction and better performance. They've also redesigned a new over rev limiter control system and program, and what it does is it reduces the noise and cavitation.
Okay.
So as you know, you sort of some models you kind of grab a handful of throttle and there's that kind of rev up before it finally kind of hooks up and goes.
Yeah.
So the engineers have worked very hard to reduce that through all the new designs and features.
Neat. Yeah, and as you mentioned, I got a chance to ride it, and that was my experience twofold. First of all, the power feels much more immediate than it did before. I'm a big heavy guy too, and the fact that it could get me up and out of the water quickly, that's a good thing. And then the engine note absolutely is just quieter, smoother sounding, which it's nice out there on the water.
Yeah, and you're going to find that the hookup is really going to work better. You're really going to enjoy it when you're, excuse me, using water ski or tubing.
Sure.
Water toys behind it, because there's going to be two people on the unit plus the person you're towing. You're going to find that the hookup's going to give more enjoyment out of that because there's not going to be the lag to kind of get up and moving.
Cool. So one question I did have, I don't know if you have a number to represent how much quieter the engine is. Does Yamaha have a stat on, is it 10% quieter, 20%, something like that, or just easy to say it's quieter?
It's easier to say that it's quieter. I do have a chart that really sort of shows the difference. Instead of multiple spikes, you can see where it's actually smoothed it out.
Okay.
The vibration, and that's kind of always been something you've had to accept in the marine world, is you're gonna get cavitation and vibration, and our engineers have just been fantastic at coming up with ways to reduce it. Because if you're going to spend your entire day out on something having fun, but then you're spending all evening sitting on your deck feeling like you're still shaking, it's going to take away from the experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you've mentioned probably a lot of these things now, but can you just speak to sort of what Yamaha's goals were? Because like I said, you've gone 15 years without a full redesign. So when the engineers sat down and said, let's do this, what were the goals they were chasing after?
The main goal is they were looking for a more powerful engine. Like,
Okay.
we knew that we needed to replace the 1.8 naturally aspirated. They were looking for a more powerful platform that was going to provide smoother acceleration and higher top speeds. And they looked at how they could do that, optimizing the intake and the exhaust tracks, things like a 10% larger throttle body. To be honest with you, when Yamaha sits down to design something or replace something or develop something new, the engineering department really comes into its own, because as having Yamaha's product, having used our entire lineup, we're not going to come to market with something until we are satisfied that it is the absolute best that we could produce. We're not going to race to market just because we absolutely have to have something in that particular segment. So the engineers really take their time to look at what they want to do. They sat down and said, okay, you know, we've got the 1.8, it's a fantastic motor, but we need the next step. So the next step was a bit bigger, you know, and taking the lessons that we've learned from the 1.8, what can we improve, what works fantastic, and then really putting the time into making it work, doing the R&D, doing the testing, and not just sort of handing production and marketing a design and saying, yeah, here you go. It's more of the background. They had a clear goal. They wanted a quicker, smoother engine, bit bigger displacement, and that was sort of the jump-off point that they went with from there.
Got it. All right. I also know that the fuel economy has been improved. Can you speak to, you know, how much of an improvement has been made and sort of some of the things that led to that?
Yeah. So on the FX model, we are looking at in sort of the cruising range in around the 40 mile an hour point. We're getting 25% better fuel consumption at the cruising speed. So you're going to be on the water longer. You're going to be able to spend more time out there enjoying the product and not always having to race back to the fuel dock or to the launch ramp to throw more fuel in it.
Yeah. Perfect.
So with a 25% better consumption at cruising speed is really going to transition into more time on the water.
Yeah. Well, cool, Dave. One other thing, where are these engines built? Where are they going to be produced?
These are coming out of Japan.
Got it.
So all of our engines are manufactured in Japan. They're then brought over and put into our Waverunner lineup at our manufacturing facility in Georgia.
Got it.
And then from Georgia, they go all over the world.
Cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, I think that's just about it. I think my last question is just, is there one feature on the new engine which you think is really cool, something that the engineers sort of pulled off that you think should be highlighted, maybe something you haven't touched on yet, something you feel like people really need to know, or even something that was really a challenge, you know, that you're proud that Yamaha was able to overcome?
I'm really proud and really impressed with the fuel, the economy, and the engineering that's gone into the improvements and the design. I mean, the engineers have really outdone themselves. They sat down with their goals and have just produced a fantastic platform that, you know, customers are really going to enjoy using, and even the ease of serviceability for technicians when they're doing the regular maintenance and service on it is going to translate into quicker turnaround times for regular maintenance, and it's going to keep the people out on the water. Like it's just a fantastic next step in the evolution of where water vehicles from Yamaha are going.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's it for me, Dave. I appreciate you taking the time, and I can't wait to get on some more of these Waverunner models next summer. And of course, I'm not sure you can speak to this, but I imagine there's a supercharged model in the works. I don't know if Yamaha's confirmed that yet.
You know what? That's above my pay grade. I'm not far enough up the ladder to really know what's coming, but as you have seen with Yamaha's engineering history, they're always 2 or 3 steps ahead.
Got it. All right, fair enough. Well, yeah, thanks so much, Dave. I appreciate your time, man.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Well, folks, we have come to the end of this video. So honestly, it's hard to complain about this new Waverunner engine, right? You're getting more power, better fuel economy, and it's quieter and smoother. And then the one thing we didn't mention, but I'll tell you now, is the price. I went and looked at the 2024 models, and the price increases are just a couple $100 basically for every single model. So Yamaha did not jack up the price either, just because they put in the new power plant, and I appreciate that. So now, of course, I need to hear from you. Why don't you go into the comments, let me know what you think of this new 1.9 liter of the Yamaha Waverunner lineup. Let me know when you think we're gonna see the supercharged model. I think it'll probably be 2025 model year, but we'll wait and see. And then as always, while you're down below, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the channel, and then come right back here to TK Powersports to see what we are testing next.